Hear about it. Talk about it now with Matt Patrick.
KTRH News Time is 7:47. We'll continue to talk about Herman Cain, his latest accuser. Also, why it is that young American males are moving back in with mom and dad. Joining us right now is former Houston Mayor Bill White. Mayor White, welcome back to Houston's Morning News. Thanks for taking the time.
Great to be with you this morning.
Well, so we've got an election going on today. We got people going to the polls. I am hopefully stirring people to get up off the couch and get to the polls. You know as well as anybody that apathy can change the dynamic of an entire city. We've got to get people into the polls to vote, right?
You bet. And, look, the special interests have their voices heard loud when folks just who don't have an axe to grind except getting good government at a reasonable tax rate stay home. So I encourage Houstonians, there's a lot of online resources, and talk to people you know. These council races are important. Remember that as not just a mayor, the city council has to pass these ordinances. Get informed and try to vote for somebody who you think will represent your point of view and look to the good of all the citizens of the community and just not one group or special interest.
So, Mayor White, also 10 constitutional amendments are up on the ballot. Do people get confused and think, oh, maybe I don't really understand this enough? Yet there's plenty of stuff out there for us to read. How do you get someone excited enough to go to the poll for that?
When you figure that out, will you call me? I mean, look,
that's the tough part.
I can just say what I think, and I don't need to be political. Is it okay if I'm not politically correct?
This is the show in Houston to do that. This is maybe the only show where I encourage you to not be politically correct.
Well, something is wrong with the way we run the state and the way it's been run. Now, I'm not talking about just Governor Perry, but I mean, the whole system for a long time. When, I got to go to the polls and, vote on something, I can't even remember what it was, whether El Paso, Texas could issue some kind of bond issue. Yeah. There ought to be, you take a look at the United States Constitution, and if, you can read elementary school reading level, you can read the United States Constitution in 30 minutes or sometimes less. The Texas Constitution takes books and books and has all these amendments. It's ridiculous. And let me just add on that. Do you know any voter who really thinks the quality of justice improves in this community when you go through a list of, 40 or 50 judges trying to figure out who may be the best and fairest judge? That's ridiculous as well.
Mayor Bill White joining us, former Mayor Bill White joining us. Mayor, I want you to hang on if you can. Anise Parker, of course, is looking forward to another term in office. You've been down this road before. I want to get your thoughts on what might be going through her head today as she waits to see what the outcome is going to be. Former Houston Mayor Bill White joining us this morning. We'll get back to him in just moments.
Your Houston Morning News with Matt Patrick continues.
KTRH News Time is 7:53. Joining us, former Houston Mayor Bill White. Mayor White, let me be politically incorrect if I can with you. I would assume, you've been in this position before, your first term in mayor, honeymoon stage, you get a pass in many cases. If she's reelected, Anise Parker, if she is reelected, it is really going to be time to get down to business, and she's not going to get the passes that she may have received.
I'm not going to be in the business of giving running commentary on a particular mayor, and there's only one mayor at a time. But these are the basic tasks that a mayor faces during their term. One is you got to make sure that city council people have an opportunity to talk with each other and find common ground, not just to be nice or something like that, but you have people from different backgrounds, and if you go through the gauntlet of a council race, you learn something about the city and the district, and the job is big. It's a lot better if you divide up responsibilities and the elected officials serve as a team. That's one. The other is you got to get to know the city employees, show up at those roll calls, go to the fire stations, ride with police officers, and let the city employees know you care, and if they do a good job, that they're appreciated. Those are some things that are behind the headlines, but that are part of leading the city.
If the complexion of city council changes, her job becomes a little more difficult then, doesn't it?
Well, it depends. She should encourage city council members and help them on new city council members. Usually there's a learning experience. There were some who really dove right into things, and Ann Clutterbuck and Ron Green. Michael Berry was a real leader when I was on city council in getting into the details of traffic and infrastructure. And you want to encourage people like that who have good heads on their shoulders, who are willing to look at the details, and then delegate them some responsibility for getting things done.
And Mayor White, look what happened to Michael Berry. I mean, for goodness sake.
I know. He's hanging around with a lot of radio guys, but before he started hanging around with radio people,
he was actually doing some good for the city of Houston.
I told him to help us. I was just listening to the traffic report before we got on today, and an hour into 290, I said to Michael and other people in the private sector, but he took a laboring order. Let's get, rubbernecking is terrible. Let's get those vehicles moved quickly.
Yeah.
And when you give council members a task and provide them with the resources, and it may not be exactly what you would do in the same situation, but that's what management of a large organization is all about.
Mayor, I got to run, and I thank you again for your insight. We sure appreciate it. Former Mayor of Houston, Bill White, thank you, sir, and we look forward to talking with you again. All right, more on the election. Polls are open. Let's get to voting here, Harris County and the state of Texas. We'll come back with more right here on Houston's Morning News.